Canadian Talk.
Thanks for listening, and any questions or concerns for the show, as well as voice recordings and voice messages that you'd like us to listen to, or advertisement inquiries, please forward those along to CanadianTalkWithStephan@gmail.com. Thanks. We also have a website, Stephanjackson.ca, where you can find a back catalog of all our episodes, and we're also on YouTube, where you can find the video versions. Start. Got lots of paper today. Alright, welcome back to Canadian Talk. We're here on a Tuesday, just before the Wednesday. Lots of exciting updates. The podcast is finally on Apple. We got approved and everything with our feed. So you can go and you can find us now on the podcast apps. You can search for the name and you can find the podcast and just view it directly off of there, right on your phone. It'll play when you're in the lock screen and all that stuff, so just kind of easier listening. Because the real point to this is the audio, not really the video. So, yeah, so that's all set up. Got the podcast on there now, so starting with episode 1, the intro episodes will just be on the website, Stephanjackson.ca. But yeah, go to YouTube. The YouTube has really all the most raw files, including video files. So, and yeah, I've got these new camera angles that should be a little better, and I'm going to edit them in there properly now. So, a little more production value. Tuesday, May 12th. 12's my favorite number, so that's a good sign. I am not superstitious at all. Don't have any favorite numbers, but I did wear 12 in hockey. Okay, so what do we got to talk about? My girlfriend started being a video game streamer. That's pretty cool. I don't know her name yet, so that'll just be to come. Probably just Fortnite and Animal Crossing. Drinking my Great Western. Did I say that already? Right here, centered in Saskatoon. It is like 7 in the morning though, so you know, I wouldn't recommend doing this unless you're, I don't know, a person who drinks beer in the morning. Oh, that's a good fire there. So what else? Been kind of looking at some of the other podcasts in the city. Obviously, I knew there was none, but there's a sports dedicated podcast called YXC Sports Podcast. That's pretty cool. Been listening to a lot of their stuff. I think they're on episode maybe 10 or something, just like me. And yeah, they're pretty cool. So if you want to have a purely sports podcast that's a little shorter, check out the YXE Sports podcast. They have all the same sort of platforms as me. You just Google it, it'll probably work. And the door just closed itself. So yeah, what else? There's another podcast I think that's centered here in the city. It's called Friendless. It's pretty good. But I think it's not fully comedy. They do some other things. But yeah, so it's really just the three of us are the only podcasts in Saskatchewan for the most part. There's some other ones that are quirky, like sitting on decks and building decks and doing that kind of stuff. So yeah, check out all the Saskatchewan podcasts. I think it's really cool. Like I like that. I think it's good that everybody listens to the ones that are going on, the mainstream ones. My favorites, like I could list them. They all are comedians, though. Those are my favorite podcasts that I listen to. Get a lot of my kind of material from. Yeah, that's where I get all my material. If you want to call this material. Yeah, I was saying though that I think it's good that people maybe, just like how people, like it's free, just like how people watch their local news station, CTV or Global or whatever. I think that podcasts should get more spread out so they have a bit of a local touch too. I think there's a market for that, mostly because radio, and not to put down radio in our city again, the radio stations are the C95.1 and 96.3 and 102. They're all pretty good. Those are only three, and they mostly just play music and so many advertisements. So, I think we need some radio that is more somebody talking to you, not just advertisements and outdated music. If those radio stations would maybe hire some new talent, that would probably help them out a little bit. I'm not putting down the radio show hosts now. Some of them are kind of funny for an hour a day or whatever, but when you do it every day, you start to run out of material. You end up talking about fucking, oh my god, I don't even know because I push it out of my memory because I get so frustrated with those radio hosts. They just talk about nothing interesting. And then they have to repeat themselves too. That's what kind of sucks, is if you try to listen to it, every 15 minutes, every 30 minutes they come on and they say the same jokes. Like, I don't like that. That's kind of hacky and a little bit unoriginal. But again, I appreciate what you guys are doing, your art. I understand what you're getting at because that's your listener link. Just like me, right? You're probably laughing at me. Look at this guy. He's got 10 listeners, and he's trying to tell us how to do our thing. Like, because I get it. Maybe somebody clicks on mine and it's an hour and 50 minutes long, and they'll listen for 3 minutes and shut it off. But the thing about these podcasts is it's not about what happens right away. They stick around, and this proper long form type stuff, proper explanations, this is what sticks around and really ends up, I find, in the internet verse, this type of stuff really bubbles to the surface, this real conversation stuff. So that's another reason why I'm a pretty big fan of it. Just checking on all my camera angles here. The third one up there I haven't really used yet. I hope to use it for a poker game because I plan to do some poker games as well. In here in the studio, do some poker games and have the videos of the cards. It would just be just kind of like Bill Burr's. He has a YouTube series called Poker Table, which is pretty good. But other than that, there's not really any other comedy poker shows. Mostly people who watch poker are looking for the big money. So, because makes it more exciting and makes people care more. But, the people I'll be playing with probably will care a lot about the $200 that'll be on the line. So, it might be kind of interesting. So yeah, poker's always good. Lots of talking, lots of beer. maybe a few other things that we don't talk about publicly. 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 I promise this is my first quarter of a beer. Publicly. Oh, that's a good fire there. It's pretty blurry. I gotta get a better laptop out here with a better feed for the fire video. Maybe I'll get that other camera set up in the back better for the fire video. But I'm also gonna have to set up a second studio in here now for the girlfriend video game streamer there. So I'm gonna have to shrink my space a little bit in the old chalet wood shack. Oh, what do I want to talk about today? There's some funny things going on. There's lots of stuff going on. Surprisingly, no haters yet or anything. I guess with the only the like 200 views per video I get per week, you're not going to see much hate. But I'm sure there will be eventually. I'm excited for it. But I love it. I've been getting lots of love as well. Lots of people like things, and so that's good. I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing. I guess I got nothing better to do. I'm gonna have some things for sale on the website, like a T-shirt and a bunny hug that'll just say the Canadian Talk on there, and like some desk weights and stuff like that'll have the logo on there. Like there'll be chunks of wood that'll have the logo burned into there and shit. That kind of stuff is some merch that I'm gonna have. Not much, just like shirt, bunny hug, that frickin' wood block, and that'll be it. I might make some coffee tables and things because I make furniture. My family makes furniture. I mentioned that last time. Dresser to Impressor. They make custom handmade timber furniture. I do that as well, but I'm not as good as they are. So get their stuff if you want the high quality stuff. If you want the stuff that's a little more rough, then you can hit up Stephanjackson.ca. I got some guests that'll be coming on, but the next probably 10 or 20 podcasts I'm just going to do solo just to try to really find my stride with a lot of this long form. I feel like I've been coughing out a little bit easy, especially when I do solos right around 30 minutes. I'd like it to be longer than that, so I got to practice a little bit. Really, that's what's going on now, and yeah. So that's some basic introductions. Thanks for watching. Anybody who's watching, 12 minutes in, thank you for watching. Hope you're liking the camera angles. Comment if you want me to talk about anything in particular. That even if you know me, message me or just comment on videos. Tell me what you want me to comment on. I'll talk about it. I got lists of stuff that I talk about, but I mostly just like to improv. I don't like to have a list. I like to just see what I remember and just kind of do that. So, yeah. I don't like to rush it. Pretty funny. Anybody who, since I'm kind of just like a seed podcast of some bigger comedy podcasts, I mentioned that on the, some funny stuff been happening. Like every Monday, a bunch of really good podcasts drop of the major Hollywood people. And, what was the story I was going to tell? I was going to tell about Bert Kreischer. Yeah, Two Bears, One Cave. Just hilarious, the episode this week. Bert Kreischer, he's a comedian. His nickname is The Machine. He realized that his entire career pretty much is based on these Russian guys who made fun of him, these mobsters, on his initial story, The Machine, that made him famous. One of his first specials, second special, The Machine. They didn't realize that the guys who in Russia were making fun of him. The Machine is a porn video that I think they were calling him after. So I don't know. Check out the most recent episode 29 of Two Bears, One Cave if you want to see that details on that. But that was hilarious. He found out that the nickname that he thought was them calling him like The Machine, like something sounded cool. It ended up being a reference to something not so cool. Uh, I like to talk mostly about things of substance, so it can be hard to stretch what your material pretty far. I guess a few things that I'd like to talk about is just like some of the debates that I've been wanting to have on the podcast that aren't sports or comedy related. I have a few friends that are pretty politically charged, and they have quite opposing opinions to me, and I'm very excited to have them on the podcast to just to talk about various political things like that, because it's fun to listen to somebody talk, but when it's just one-sided, it gets a little bit Alex Jones a little bit too quickly, screaming into a void opinions that nobody agrees with. But yeah, one of my friends is he fancies himself quite a left-winger, but he likes to call himself kind of center. So that would be a good debate. Not that I'm opposing to left wing. I'm not right wing, but I oppose a lot of his ideas. So and he's pretty intelligent, so he defends them with great vigor. Them being his opinions on various things. Most of our opinions do agree, but then we do disagree when it comes to how we take care of social services and what to do at the bottom ends of the economic ladder, as well as we disagree on the theory of like federal government in general and a lot of their roles and a lot of their responsibilities. We disagree on that greatly. And I'll get into that if I'm ever able to get him to do the podcast. I'm obviously not even mentioning any names right now of any of the people I have in mind, because I don't know how public they want to be about their debates. So anyway, I want to just kind of take a moment again just to pause and thank everybody who's listening, and thank everybody who's followed the page on Facebook. That gets some updates. That just makes it look more popular, gives me more weight, and helps me keep providing it. This is what I'm going to be doing for the next foreseeable years as my living. So even though I don't make a living doing it, but I'm going to do it anyway. What was my point? That's something I was going to talk about, and I distracted myself by thinking too much about my present situation. Maybe it'll come back to me here. Politics and speaking publicly. Add a bit of wood to this. Oh man, what can I talk about that isn't boring? Ha 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 ha. Kind of getting my seating arrangement set up in here too, so that I don't get sore when I sit. Oh, I was talking about guests. I will be sitting back there at the table when I have guests in the future. So this is just where I sit for the solo ones. Yeah, I hope this this gaming thing works out for my girlfriend. Don't really care though. She's pretty successful as a nurse, and that's cool. What else? Been cooking some good meals on this quarantine. Been barbecuing a lot of pork on the old Weber grill. But yeah, some more of the things that I disagree with a lot of left-wing people on would be, that's too general. I wouldn't want to talk about that unless I have a primary example of having a person in studio. You know, but I do have pretty specific beliefs about people who work in government. And, like, you know, a lot of times I see federal government officials, like Trump, let's use Trump as an example again, because he's a hot-button issue. People criticize him because of something he says. And obviously, I think that's obviously wrong, because as a federal, like the type of sacrifice he made, I know he wants to be president because, you know, it boasts his own portfolio, and it gives him power in improving his situation. But his situation was, you have to realize, and people always say, why are old men presidents? Okay, you have to put a person there who wouldn't have any further motivations to boast their personal situations, because they're kind of old and done for already. I understand that old men have all their family that they'd want to give preferential treatment to and stuff, but because they would have lots of family because they're old. But an old person would have a better perspective on that type of stuff. And I'm not saying Donald Trump is a genius, but that's why it's always old men, and that's why you'd want a guy like him, because he can protect himself from being killed and stuff. You know, he's not new to death threats and those types of behaviors around him, because he's a public figure already. And so you don't have to worry about that as a voter, because we don't want to have another assassination, because then we got to go to war. By we, I mean the Americans, not us. It's just that our Canadian government is so lame, we hardly even pay attention to it. This gun ban is a pretty hot button topic lately. They just recently banned, I don't know too much about it, but they banned guns in Canada, which is pretty crazy. Like, they banned AR-15s, and which, like, that's fine. You don't need that shit, do you? Like, people say though that they do, but just have a shoddy and a nice accurate hunting rifle. It seems like that's legal. Have a shoddy and an accurate hunting rifle, right? Not to mention, how about just be able to defend yourself? Like, it's your house, you should be strategically set up so that anybody who intrudes, you should be able to dummy them pretty easily, right? Like, you should have trap doors and fucking, they shouldn't know where they're walking. Shit should be locked all over the place. Different various doors in the house should be locked. They shouldn't just have to get through the front door. They should have to get through other doors. So that makes noise. You should have cameras, because cameras are like $50. Thanks to the technological evolution, as my liberal friend would say. That's one of his opinions, is that he thinks I'm too pessimistic about the nature of human beings. and what they're like when they're poor and starved. Whereas he thinks that somehow the technological evolution that we've undergone somehow interweaves with that, and it causes people to be more altruistic and less rabid. That's his opinion on that, and it's like, I don't know if I agree with that, so we'll get more into that, I guess, because I think that people at the bottom will steal to feed, and I also think that that's okay. So, I'll stop just again now that we're at half of an hour to thank Great Western Brewing Company for their delicious beer, giving me the fuel I need for the podcast. Thank everybody for listening so far. In episode 2, if you like, eventually, like when I'm on episode 200, nobody will ever see these. So anybody who does come back far enough in the catalog to even see these, congratulations and thank you, and you're a true fan. And buy a T-shirt, wear a T-shirt, and that's awesome. Talk to me in public. I'll say hi. Don't touch me though, or I'll not be so happy. And I'll say hi. We can talk quickly about any type of political debate that you want to have. Run a joke by me, whatever you want to do. Also, I am starting to do some open mics. So that whole thing about me not doing stand-up comedy, that's not so true anymore. So yeah. Comedy for days and days. Oh dear. Been playing lots of Fortnite. That's a game for children. Been playing a lot of N64. There's like, it was boring before, or sorry, not N64, Mario Kart on the Switch, Nintendo Switch. And it's been fun. We got pretty good. We're at like a 10,000 rating online. And then, like that's like a pretty high score, I guess, for your online rating. And it was boring though, because you could never, the funnest thing about playing games online is when you chirp people, like when you beat them. And so I was missing that. And then Daniela found, not Daniela, my girlfriend, some random girl. She found a thing on Reddit where we can enter chats. I think it's through Nintendo though. I'm not actually really sure, but you can actually do online chat with like a phone or a separate computer with the people that you're racing with in the Nintendo Switch Mario Kart now. So that's really fun. Everybody is so polite though, so there's no chirping, and you look like a loser if you chirp. I don't know if Nintendo maybe monitors it or something. That would be interesting if they did. But you know, I mean, we've said the words weed, we've said swear words, and we haven't been like immediately booted or anything. So seems to be a pretty decent little chat. So anybody out there who plays the old classic Nintendo games like Switch, Mario Kart, and Switch Smash Bros, and Switch Mario Party, those types of things, there's all chats now. Top up my brewski. Might as well at 7 a.m. One other kind of funny thing like that I'm thinking about is I have that intro that has me like hawking a loogie and then blowing my nose a few times. I think that I might change that for just like the sound of a can going an opening, or maybe a lighter, or like the sound of a cigarette, or like a marijuana cigarette kind of making the sound, you know, the sound that a cigarette makes. Or maybe I should make it some of the sounds of the fire, like put the mic right up to it and just like, maybe that could make for a good intro. Who knows? Who knows? The sky's the limit when you're the boss and the bitch. That's one thing I've been having more of an appreciation for since I tried starting to do more of these like recordings and create some forms of stuff that isn't me being a sports player, is singers. Singing is such an insane talent, and like the cardio involved in singing is so tremendous. I had no idea. No idea. Maybe I should start singing a song at the beginning of every podcast. Bobby Lee does that. A lot of guys do that. Brian, what's his fucking name? The old wrinkly guy there, Brian Callen. He used to sing at the beginning of his podcasts. Oh man, I love podcasts. I hope you guys love podcasts. Because I really think that this is the newest media, just to listen to one person talk about stuff, who isn't hindered by having people around or cameras or scripts. I really like to think this is the new media, the new news. I think Joe Rogan is the tip of the spear on that, because he really does. He teaches regular people about regular topics, and he doesn't condescend. That was something that I really broke out of from when I was younger, because I used to be really bad with condescension and looking down on people that I deemed as not as good as me or not as educated, and I realized that was really just a hindrance to anything. It's never good to put people down or to not spread information because you look down on somebody. You should always try to talk to everybody like they're equal and all those types of things. In a lot of my professional endeavors, like how I make money and stuff, in my businesses, I've come to learn a lot of that stuff. That you're better off if you don't look down on people that are lesser than you. You can't be like that. There's no good in that. You're not gonna benefit. But then here's how that's different. I wanna create a parallel though for how that's different from, let's say, a guy like Donald Trump. Jeez, there's gonna be a drinking game for every time I adjust my trousers here. Because Donald Trump doesn't, again, I'm not pro-Trump, I just want to talk about the president. He makes a sacrifice to be the president and puts his life on the line. He doesn't look down on poor people. Oh damn it, I lost my train of thought. Fuck! Fucking fuck! I was talking about myself and how, you don't benefit from that, and, yeah, so he's in the position of being a president. I haven't seen significant evidence of him putting down the lower class. It seems as though he simply acts as a president should. And he's a right-wing president, so he tries to promote the economy and grow the money for the folks who are invested in trying to make money. Like, it's tough to put into perspective, because if you don't understand it, you don't understand it. But if you do take on less risk, you're gonna have less reward. Your life will be more secure theoretically. Like whenever let's say you meet, and I've met so many of these guys. You meet, let's say, some of those drunks that are trades workers, or maybe you meet some drug addicts who are nurses or primary care workers. You know, there's different main fields of employment and the different genders. And a lot of times at that lower bottom level, where their skills are so universal, like the types of skills that you can use in your house, those types of, so plumbers and carpenters and that type of stuff. they are often quite transient and variable with their employment. That's simply because they can work anywhere, and so that's a good thing. That's security at the end of the day. If they may not realize it because they don't make as much, but that's because they didn't sacrifice as much. They enjoy those by they, like I'm talking in pejoratives. That's not the right word. I'm talking from a different perspective here, like from their perspective, you know. So to make lots of money, you know, you have to start making sacrifices early. Like if you talk about Jeff Bezos or one of those assholes, you know, he started making sacrifices when he was a little kid with the type of shit he had to learn to be able to manage his corporation in the way that he did, and to come up with the ideas for selling the products online like he did, and streamlining it and making it smooth and simple and work globally like he did with Amazon, right? Because you have to realize Amazon used to just sell books, but they were so smooth, their website was so accessible and clean that people used it to sell the other stuff, and before you knew it, it was everything. So shout out to Jeff Asshole Face Bezos. I'm gonna probably be dead in 2 weeks. I'm just kidding. He's a good guy. I don't hate corporate owners. I'm just saying that, like, he could, you know, they only have so much time on their hands, but they could hire people to manage their money. Hundreds of people. Okay, out of 200 people, you might have 5 or 10 people who might defraud you out of ten to 50 to $100,000 here and there. But imagine the good they're going to do putting their time into allocating your funds to do good. Like Bill Gates, I can see is really trying his best. Like that Gates Foundation is actually doing some stuff, kinda. More so than, let's say, the Clinton Foundation, that's for sure. So, yeah, man. Well, that was a good rant. I want to just, I guess, do another advertisement for my parents' woodworking things. Phone number would be 306-221-4659 for dressers and tables, kitchen tables, chairs, benches, coat racks, islands for your kitchen, all those types of things. They make them with nice thick lumber, 2x6s and 3x6s, and real, you know, usually sometimes softwoods, sometimes hardwoods, and they'll use nice stains, dark stains, and they really are very good carpenters, the two of them. They work together, and they really make right angles. Not like my studio, which is fucking just a towering mess. But I can't complain because I have a studio, and you know how many people have studios? Not very many. So I have to be thankful for what I have. So I'm looking forward to hopefully the next year's hockey season. I hope that we get to some hockey next year and that type of stuff. Play some hockey. I love hockey. I assume everybody does, I guess, where I'm from. Hockey. I don't love watching the NHL so much. I grew up across the street from Eric Gryba. He was in the NHL for a little while, and now he's out. I don't know why, he probably got fat. He's got some sort of fishing company and a cooking show, I think, that he does, which is pretty cool, good for him. I grew up across the street from him. Oh man, my neighbor Max Gooding. I heard some stories about him being involved in Skip the Dishes. I don't know, though, how much involvement he had in that. He's doing well. What other awesome, talented people? Maybe I can get Max on. Maybe I can get Eric on sometime. Who else am I thinking of? Chandler Stevenson. He obviously is crushing it in the NHL right now, winning Stanley Cups and stuff. I used to play baseball with him, not on a team, but we used to just hang out at the baseball field and hit balls. The Shens, obviously, the Shens are up there in the NHL doing all right. I'm not sure how much longer they have in there, but they're doing pretty good. I can skate faster than both of them. That's obviously why I'm going to be a speed skater. See that? That's a mountain right there. It's a quadricep. I want to be a speed skater, really. That's what I'm shooting for now. I'm 27, but I want to start training. I've been training, obviously, for skating for my whole life, but I want to try to get even better at speed skating. There isn't really any good long tracks here in the cities. Saskatoon, there's There's Clarence Downey, which just they were closed this season and last season they were doing construction and stuff though. So this next season though they should be open. Be out there skating around that long track. I like to do it right in the evening, late at night. Go like dark out, just fly in a circle, stare at the because actually it's a beautiful long track. It's just circled by evergreen trees, so no wind gets in there, and you just rip around in the outside lane. Oh yeah, exercise. To all you, I don't know. I want to talk about depression a little bit, maybe some other things like that. Because I'm thinking about exercise. I don't think I understand that stuff completely. I understand that there's certain chemical imbalances that are irreversible, and maybe genetic problems and things like that. But depression really is something that you can take a hold of if you exercise and you set goals every day, because you don't have to think about the fact that you're depressed. Just set goals every day and just focus on those goals. And if you achieve a goal, you can be happy about that, and you don't have to worry about the fact that you don't like your fucking tummy or whatever it is that makes you depressed that you think about every 9 seconds. So, you know, and in terms of your thoughts and everything, you may not. What was I thinking about the other day? Should have brought my list out here. You just don't need to hyper-focus on failure. You should focus on goals. That really is the cure to depression. It's in your own thoughts. You can't think of yourself as lesser. You have to. I'm gonna reference like Bert Kreischer again. He's a podcaster. He's a fat idiot, but you know he thinks he has the Mickey Mantle gene, and he's able to maintain a healthy lifestyle while being like a complete alcoholic, and not a healthy lifestyle, but a successful endeavor that is his life. It's going all right, and you know he drinks a lot of alcohol just because he's very positive about his self-image. Because a lot of what they say is bad about alcohol, right? Is it's a depressant, meaning it weakens your immune system and it makes you look at yourself as weaker. Essentially, is what it does chemically, and it gives you endorphin rushes, and then you have endorphin depletions, and it causes those depressive waves. You can just be aware of that and try to take hold of it. That is a good option. You just have to not be negative about your self-image, and that's all starts though, because a negative self-image comes from evidence. If you wake up every day and you have evidence, because in your brain you're not listening to yourself when it tells you to get up and do something that'll interest your brain, then you know you're failing. So you got to set goals, even just the smallest ones, and you can, eventually you'll set more and more, and you'll get more and more done in one day. And that's really what it is all about, is getting as much done in one. But you don't want to get too far with the getting a lot of stuff done in one day, because it can get to be too much, and then you can be obsessive compulsive, and that can be a bit too much. So yeah. Anyway, oh man, I went deep there. That was a rant. Actually, sometimes my 7-minute rants feel like they're 15-minute rants. That's something I'm noticing a lot lately. Thank you, Great Western, for this fuel. Woo! Oh, I just remembered what I was gonna talk about from that my intro, from the belching and not the belching, clearing my throat and the nose blows. I did this politics test to see which way I leaned. It was like 30 questions, so pretty stupid. But I guess it was based on some university research that says that a lot of your disgusts, like the things that disgust you, or the things you try to avoid most, are actually not the things you strive for most. But because most people don't think about politics that much, they mostly think of politics at the end of the line, and they think, oh, politics should take care of the things that I hate most, so that I don't have to think about those, just like I don't think about politics. So that's why people use disgust in a way to guide their political leanings. So it's a series of questions. This political test was a series of questions that asked, like, things about disgust. And one of them was, "Are you disgusted?" And I think the more I've thought about these 30 questions, because I think about every single one of these questions, the more I think about that particular question about does it disgust you to hear somebody clear their throat of mucus, which is exactly what I do in my intro. I was like, oh my god, what a coincidence. I think that they might have been using that for some sort of a Republican-leaning question of disgust. Like maybe towards homeless, like they it's like they're disguised questions of trying to figure out what disgusts you. Food, rotting food, so essentially rotting faculties, like your recycling companies and stuff, rotting people, meaning homeless people, or bad industry. And it was asking various innuendo type questions that would essentially ask you those types of things. And then it would tell you whether or not you were left or right, because left people try to take care of people and right wing people try to take care of things, and right and left wing people try to take care of people because they think that's going right to the source of solving problems. Right wing people think they're going right to the source of solving problems by fixing infrastructure and economy so more people can have funds to manage their own lives, because right wing people think that people should manage their own lives. They don't believe as much in social services. It's all a mess. It's all a mess. The sides are designed for stupid people, like I've said before. We should just all be doing our best every day to look after ourselves. That's obviously a right-wing stance, but to look after yourself and then also look after others, because there's enough time to do both if you set goals every day. So, okay, pause. I'm going to add some wood to the fire. Thanks for listening so far, everybody. We're at nearly an hour, and this is great so far. Oh. Son of a... Oh man, do I ever love fires. I love fires. I love fires. I love fires. I probably come from the lineage of people that invented fires. Oh, here's my chalice of wine from last night. I don't know if anybody else likes drinking wine from the night before, but I do. Yeah, pretty pumped though to be a member of that select group in the Saskatchewan podcast group of people, that are out there and on Apple Podcasts and those various platforms. I'm pretty happy to be a part of that. I've always wanted to do this. Anybody who knows me knows that I've been planning this for my whole life, but I haven't had the means and the infrastructure to do it until now. It took me a long time, right? Like 27, 28 years to build up to where I am now, so I don't have to struggle or to shoot a podcast in a basement or anything like that, or in a bedroom. But yeah, life is a lot of work. When you want to achieve success, life is a lot of work. You have to make sacrifices that you don't want to make, and you have to do things that you don't want to do. Like I didn't, just like every morning I get up at 5, 6 a.m. to build all the various things I've built on my properties. I didn't want to do that, but I did. You convince yourself, and that's where it comes back to the whole mind thing again. You have to convince yourself that you want to do it, because you focus. Once you start achieving goals, you get better at setting goals, and then you start setting longer term goals. And that's where that's where I am, but that's where various people are at various different stages of their goal setting growth. But you just gotta focus on each day separately. Live in the present, because that's the thing. It's good to look into the future to focus on your goals if they're positive, but it's also not good to look into the future if you're focusing on negative things that you have to do, like a court date or something like that. You have to not think about that. You also have to set schedules so that you can just put that in the schedule, so you'll be reminded of the crappy things, and then you can focus on the good things. At least that's the way I tricked myself. So, yeah, some positive thoughts for everybody. Yeah, I'm happy to be a part of this podcast network. I'm happy to start setting the stage for introducing us prairie Canadians to the world. We're better. I don't want us to be lumped in with rednecks or with any I don't know. Let's, for lack of a better word, southeastern Americans. Who are considered to be what they're considered to be. I know you all know. Y'all know. And I'm not saying it's negative. I like them. I love Theo Von. He's one of my favorite comedians. But, just the way that they're viewed. I want us to have a better view than that. I want the world to see us as the intelligent, yet conservative, yet liberal. We're conservative yet liberal. I like to think us people in Saskatchewan. Just no homeless people. We have like 2. It's pretty awesome. Our city is doing very good. Pretty excited about the stadium that they might build downtown. That would be pretty cool if we got an NHL team and stuff like that. I'd like that. Got to shave my face. It's kind of getting out of control here, or I'm gonna have to start calling the show One Bear, One Cave. One hairy twink, one cave. Okay, that's a 1 hour pause break. I'll be right back in 2 minutes. Okay. Oh, that's a nice warm fire. It's also nice weather outside today. Beautiful weather. Curing the COVID. Don't want none of that shit. None of that COVID shit. Oh. Pretty funny that. More about Trump, I guess. Trump said that you inject stuff into your body and try to cure it. That's pretty stupid. He says stupid shit. But like I said, I don't believe in criticizing the president just because of the type of sacrifice that he makes, that he or she makes when they're in that position. There's no point of criticizing their antics because then they don't actually make any decisions. They don't do anything. Let's all be real here. They're just a figurehead, but not and they're a figurehead really, and it's like you have to, if you're going to think about criticizing a president or one of these leaders of departments, you have to imagine yourself, because like what do? You work in a plant, or you work at a store, or you run a store, or you own a store. Your life is not at risk. If somebody threatens your life, you call the police. It's a big thing in your life if you get one little threat. For these people, that is their job, is managing those types of threats. You have to factor that in when they're just trying to be president, just sit in that position and essentially go in front of mics and talk publicly about, hey, this is why the vice chair of whatever, his mistake wasn't so bad. They're defenders. At the end of the day, the president, the leaders, are people who just protect the people below them, who is everybody. Well, they either protect them or fire them based on how they think they're doing. And based on how I've seen it, it seems like Trump's end goal is to have the economy be high, which is any right-wing person. And I'm not, Obama did fine too. Obama did fine too. None of the presidents are doing bad. That's the thing, is they're just being presidents. That's all the president does, is just defend all of his people that he elected into the positions. So, God. Sick of this shit. Alright, so I think that's good for an episode for Wednesday, May 13th. Thank you everybody for listening. I'm going to record another one probably for next week, or a bonus episode right now. I was actually going to release an episode with Daniela Fortnite Extraordinaire. She's a video game streamer. I was going to release that this Wednesday, like so tomorrow, but instead I'm going to push that back. That's a podcast that we did about coronavirus and what it's like to be a first responder in coronavirus, like she is, and then some of the things to do with her exploits. So, all right, thanks for listening, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Subscribe to.
Canadian Talk.
Thanks for listening, and any questions or concerns for the show, as well as voice recordings and voice messages that you'd like us to listen to, or advertisement inquiries, please forward those along to CanadianTalkWithStephan@gmail.com. Thanks. We also have a website, Stephanjackson.ca, where you can find a back catalog of all our episodes, and we're also on YouTube, where you can find the video versions.